Is WWE done with the Money in the Bank concept? We're going to talk about that, as well as AEW introducing new championship belts and why I think it is happening sooner than later. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have that conversation. WWE dropped another announcement, and they are going after AEW. The proof is all right there. It's coming up right here on the Ango Show. And if you guys like videos like this, go ahead and click subscribe. We're on the hunt for 100,000 subscribers, and your support would truly be appreciated. Let's just kick things off with a bang. WWE has announced NXT 2300 is coming back. But now, the way that they're doing this is going to be interesting. As you guys know, AEW is doing a residency at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. And I spoke about this on video. And I think residencies are really cool. There's definitely pros and cons to doing a residency, but I think this is a good idea. So what is WWE doing? Because that's where things get really funky. There's a report that has come out that WWE has plans to do the 2300 Arena on Tuesday, August 19th. And basically, you might be wondering why that's a big deal. The reason for WWE doing this is because WWE is doing it 1 week before AEW. So yeah, the proof is there. Like, whether you guys want to admit it or not, WWE is trying to hurt AEW. They are trying to stunt AEW. This is one of those moves where it is very apparent that WWE is coming after AEW. 1 week before AEW does a residency, they're doing the same arena. Like, WWE, I see exactly what you're doing here. I think it's funny that WWE is doing that. I think it's kind of silly that WWE is doing that. But I do love the 2300 Arena. You know, I like when NWA or TNA or pretty much any of these companies want to use the arena, or the venue, I should say. But it is funny that WWE is doing this. And it is petty that WWE is doing this. And not only is it petty, not only is it silly, but it is kind of smart. Now, WrestleVotes had come out with this information, so shout out to WrestleVotes. But I just want to make it pretty clear, because I think a lot of people may not understand why this is such a big deal. WWE doing the arena, or the venue, before AEW, 1 week prior, when AEW will be there for several dates, it's going to build a lot of fatigue, which could potentially hurt AEW's ticket sales. So it is a genius move, but it's a silly move. I don't think WWE really has to go to that extreme, but that's what they're doing. People wanted competition. This is what you're getting. So let's talk about some more stuff. AEW Women's Tag Team Championship belts. It looks like it's actually going to be happening. As you guys know, there was a conversation about this during the media call before AEW Double or Nothing. Tony Khan is definitely not shutting it down. He spoke about this, if you guys missed that media call. Basically, he says there's a lot of great tag teams in the women's division, a lot of great partnerships, and a lot of different companies they could work with. He's not shutting down the idea. He's being very open to it. And then since then, well, really for the last few months, I mean, you're starting to see more women's tag team matches happening on AEW television. So it's very clear AEW is set to introduce women's tag team championship belts. Now, I have a very interesting approach here, because I think some people are not going to agree with me here, but I do think AEW should do it. I do. However, on the flip side to that, I don't believe AEW should do it without removing a title from the show. Because the argument that I'm going to see in the comments here, a lot of you are going to say AEW has too many titles. Well, it's very clear the Continental Championship and the International Championship are going to be merged into one. So that means one title will be removed. I also think AEW should remove the six-man tag or trios belts, whatever you want to call it, from the company as well. Have a women's tag team division, have a men's tag team division, remove one mid-card, and remove the trios belts. Then that is the solution to having too many belts. With that being said, though, women's tag team wrestling, I think, it's not there yet. But if AEW truly forms a women's tag team division and puts a big emphasis on it and a focus on it, I think it's a good way to get more talent on TV. Now, in comparison to WWE, because we got to mention WWE, women's tag team division has sucked pretty much since day one. It's had a couple good moments here and there, but for the most part, it's not that great. And I think naturally in the wrestling industry, whether it's TNA or WWE, or now maybe even AEW, I don't think the concept works. I don't think there's naturally that many women tag teams that aren't makeshift. And I'm not saying you can't survive off makeshift tag teams, but I don't think there's truly, there's so many legendary tag teams in the men's division for so many years, We don't have that history with the women's division. But I do support it because it'll get more women on TV. And I hope Tony Khan takes it serious. So we'll see what happens there, but it looks like it's happening. It's very clear Tony Khan is preparing for that. Then it just becomes a matter of when. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about WWE Money in the Bank. Triple H reportedly is not a big fan of the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's not a fan of the concept itself. And apparently he's never been. WrestleVotes was talking about this. And he says that he's been told that Triple H is not a big fan of the Money in the Bank prop as a whole. There is this belief that maybe WWE can get away from Money in the Bank. Now, let me be perfectly clear here. Money in the Bank concept has been overdone, for sure. We've seen other companies try to do it. I don't think it works as much as people would like to think. I think Money in the Bank is an interesting concept because as a pay-per-view, by the way, I think it sucks. Like, I think if you're going to do Money in the Bank matches, it shouldn't be its own pay-per-view. It should be on WrestleMania. 6-man ladder matches or 8-man ladder matches. Winner wins the briefcase. If I'm Triple H, I understand that he doesn't like the idea of the Money in the Bank briefcase. He doesn't like the prop. What I would do is just have a ladder match with a contract. Or keep Money in the Bank because it's marketable and people could buy it and toys and this and that or whatever. But I think WWE should just ultimately end with the pay-per-view. Move Money in the Bank matches to the WrestleMania card. It's a great way to get 8 people in the match, Change up the way the Money in the Bank is positioned. If Triple H is not a fan of the prop, maybe go from a briefcase to something else. I'm cool with that. But the concept should be at WrestleMania. It shouldn't be its own pay-per-view. To hear that Triple H is not a fan of this, I think is cool because that means maybe there's going to be a change. But I do think Money in the Bank has gotten stale. Let me tell you guys, WWE's got to figure it out. They got to figure it out. Sometimes I don't think they figured it out. If you guys like more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Peace.